Hey there, have you ever looked at someone super successful and thought, wow, they must have been born with it? That natural talent, that innate genius that just shines from day one. I used to think that way too, but then I read Adam Grant's incredible new book, Hidden Potential: The Science of Achieving Greater Things, and it completely flipped my perspective. Adam, who's an organizational psychologist at Wharton, argues that true greatness isn't something you're born with, it's something you grow into. He says that we often make the cardinal error of focusing on starting points, those visible immediate abilities, when assessing potential. His core message is that we need to stop obsessing over where people start and instead focus on how far they travel. It's not about being a child prodigy, it's about becoming a freak of nurture. This idea alone is so empowering. Isn't it? It means potential isn't fixed, it's a journey. The book is structured beautifully, almost like a journey itself, showing us three key areas where we can unlock this hidden potential. It's about building certain character skills, creating supportive structures for motivation, and designing systems that open up opportunities. Let's dive into the first part: skills of character. Adam argues that character isn't just about having principles, but about having the learned capacity to live by them. He challenges the idea that character traits like proactivity, discipline, or determination are soft skills, pointing out how crucial they actually are for real-world success, even predicting success in life. He breaks it down into three main character skills. First, becoming a creature of discomfort. This really hit me. We're often told to stick to our learning styles. Are you a verbal learner, a visual one, an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner? Well, Adam says that's largely a myth. The best way to learn isn't always the most comfortable way sometimes. It's the exact opposite. Think about Sarah Maria Husband and Danny Lewis, who became polyglots, people who speak many languages. They learned their multitude of languages, not because they were natural linguists, but because they got comfortable being uncomfortable by actively seeking out situations where they had to speak, even if it meant making tons of mistakes. Adam even shares the story of Steve Martin, who bombed as a stand-up comedian, and though he embraced the discomfort of writing his own jokes, which he hated, his courage to try new, uncomfortable methods, and even to set a mistake budget aiming to make at least 200 mistakes a day. Like Danny Lewis did, is how we accelerate growth. When you expect to stumble, you ruminate about it less and improve more. Second, he talks about being a human sponge. This isn't just about passively absorbing information, it's about proactively seeking new knowledge, skills, and perspectives that fuel your growth, not just your ego. And here's a crucial distinction: instead of asking for feedback, which tends to be backward-looking and judgmental, Adam suggests asking for advice. Advice is forward-looking and coaches you on how to do better next time. He gives the amazing example of Julius Yego, a javelin thrower from Kenya, who taught himself to become a world champion by watching YouTube videos because he didn't have a coach. He was a true sponge, filtering out what didn't apply to his unique style and adapting. Plus, Adam points out that true sponges involves not just absorbing but also releasing nutrients to help others grow, like how sea sponges actually produce biochemicals with anti-cancer and antiviral properties. So, being a sponge is also a prosocial skill. Third, becoming an imperfections. This isn't about being sloppy, it's about striving for excellence, not perfection. Adam explains that masters understand when to push for the best and when to settle for good enough. He shares the story of Tada Endo, a world-renowned architect who built earthquake-proof buildings despite having no formal training. Endo prioritized durability and design, even if it meant compromising on comfort, like a house where you needed an umbrella indoors. This concept, inspired by the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection, means accepting that flaws are inevitable and don't stop something from being sublime. Adam even talks about his own diving career and how his coach taught him that there's no such thing as a perfect 10 in diving, it's about excellence. So stop beating yourself up for every little mistake. Moving on to the second big section: structures for motivation. Adam explains that even with strong character skills, we face burnout, doubt, and stagnation. This is where scaffolding comes in: temporary support structures to help us scale heights we couldn't reach on our own. He uses the intriguing example of playing Tetris after seeing distressing images to reduce intrusive flashbacks. This highlights that scaffolding is tailored to the obstacle, temporary, and often comes from others. It's like a temporary structure that helps a building stand on its own once construction is complete. He then introduces the idea of transforming the daily grind into daily joy. This is achieved through deliberate play, which blends structured practice with the fun of free play, instead of the obsessive, monotonous practice often associated with mastery, which can lead to boredom or burnout. Adam advocates for harmonious passion, taking joy in the process itself rather than feeling pressure to achieve an outcome. Think of Evelyn Glennie, the world-renowned deaf percussionist, who learned to feel music through vibrations and constantly varied her practice by switching instruments or playing pieces backward to keep it fresh and engaging. Or Steph Curry, who became the NBA's best shooter through trainer Brandon Payne's deliberate play drills that made practice feel like a game. The key here is to compete against yourself, not others, measuring your progress over time, and crucially, take breaks. Even micro breaks of 5 to 10 minutes are enough to reduce fatigue and raise energy, and they can also unlock fresh ideas and deepen learning. Next, Adam tackles getting unstuck. We all hit plateaus or ruts, right? Adam says these aren't signs that you've tanked or peaked, but signals that it may be time to find a new route. Sometimes you have to back up to move forward, giving up old habits or methods, even if it feels like temporarily regressing. His prime example is R.A. Dickey, a baseball pitcher who, after years of struggling in the minor leagues, transformed his career by adopting a rare, unpredictable knuckleball pitch. This meant unlearning everything he knew, essentially hitting ground zero to rebuild. And instead of needing a full map, Adam says you often just need a compass, a credible source that signals when you're going off course and orients you in a better direction. Also, don't rely on just one expert. Seek multiple guides who can offer different pins for your unique journey, as R.A. Dickey did when he sought advice from all the living knucklebears. This chapter also resonated deeply with me when Adam talked about languishing, that feeling of being stuck and blah. The neglected middle child of mental health between depression and flourishing. His advice: take a detour. A side gig or hobby can build momentum and give you small wins, refueling your motivation, just like R.A. Dickey climbed Mount Kilimanjaro for charity, which he believes was crucial to his breakthrough season. Finally, we get to defying gravity, which is about pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps but not alone. Adam emphasizes that overcoming obstacles often happens when we lean on others, not just ourselves. He introduces the tutor effect, where the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. You remember it better after you recall it, and understand it better after you explain it. And the coach effect suggests that giving advice to others who are struggling can actually boost your own confidence and motivation. He tells the incredible story of the Golden 13, the first black naval officers, who faced immense prejudice but succeeded by studying and teaching each other, swearing to either sink or swim together. They turned the low expectations of ignorant naysayers into motivation to prove them wrong, what he calls the underdog effect. This is a self-negating prophecy, where doubt from uninformed sources actually fires you up to defy them. They were blazing a trail, carrying a torch for future generations. The third and final section is about systems of opportunity. Adam argues that individual effort isn't enough. We need to build systems that open doors and windows for everyone to realize their potential. He first looks at schools, using Finland as the prime example. Unlike systems that chase high test scores and focus on gifted students, Finland's culture is built on the belief that we can't afford to waste a brain, meaning every child has potential. They professionalize teachers, requiring master's degrees for all teachers, give them autonomy, use looping, keeping students with the same teacher for multiple years, and prioritize play-based learning over early drills in kindergarten. They focus on fostering a love of learning and individualized interests rather than just rote memorization. Because reading is seen as the basic skill for all subjects, then he delves into unearthing collective intelligence in teams. Adam challenges the common practice of brainstorming, explaining that brainwriting, generating ideas individually before sharing and evaluating them anonymously, often yields better and more diverse ideas because it ensures balanced participation. He illustrates this with the dramatic Chilean mine rescue of 2010, We're a global brainwriting system crowdsourced solutions, even receiving a $10 phone that became a lifeline. He also advocates replacing rigid corporate ladders with lattice systems, where ideas can travel across different levels and teams, preventing a single no from killing a great idea and instead requiring only one yes from a sponsor. He shares the fascinating story of Gore, the company behind Gore-Tex, which uses a lattice system to allow employees to dabble on side projects, leading to innovations like ELISA guitar strings. Finally, he talks about diamonds in the rough, how to discover uncut gems in job interviews and college admissions. Here, Adam stresses that our traditional selection systems often fail because they focus on visible accomplishments and past experience, which can be misleading and irrelevant to future performance. Instead, we should account for degree of difficulty understanding the unique obstacles someone has overcome. He points to Jose Hernandez, who applied to NASA 11 times over many years before becoming an astronaut. Hernandez's journey from migrant farm worker, learning English at age 12, working graveyard shifts, and getting tests in early college classes, was filled with adversity, which wasn't visible on his resume, but showed immense determination. Adam suggests looking at grade point trajectory and how much someone improved over time as a better indicator of potential than PA. And he highlights innovative interview models like Kayatro, a call center staffed entirely by people with disabilities in Israel, where they reverse the standard process. They focus on work samples, real-time demonstrations of skills, and even offer do-overs in interviews to let candidates truly shine. Adam closes the book with his own personal journey, sharing how he failed Harvard's mandatory writing exam and was advised to take a remedial class, but he decided to prove them wrong, sought constant feedback, and ended up getting the only A in the regular class. This experience and a conversation with a mentor who highlighted the power of character skills over initial ability became his compass for life. He even talks about imposter syndrome, suggesting it's a sign of hidden potential. Others see your capacity for growth even if you don't. And if you doubt yourself, you should also doubt your low opinion of yourself. So what's the big takeaway from hidden potential? It's a powerful call to action redefine success. It's not about the awards you accumulate or the titles you land, it's about how much you grow. It's about being kind to yourself when you stumble, seeing potential in everyone, and creating environments where people can truly flourish. This book really changed how I think about my own journey and how I look at others. It encourages you to embrace discomfort, learn continuously, and support those around you. If you're feeling stuck or just want to aim higher, this book provides practical, evidence-backed ways to not only unlock your own hidden potential but also to help others do the same. It's an incredibly optimistic and actionable read, and I highly recommend it. It's definitely one that will make you feel like you can achieve greater things.